I'm Tim Kotzman. I'm here with Alexander, Deputy CEO of the Blockchain Group. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. What's been the reaction and what are your takeaways from the conference? It seems that quite a few people are coming up and introducing themselves to you. They have an interest in learning more. What is your overall theme and takeaway for the conference here today?
Well, Bitcoin is now taking over the Louvre in Paris.
Yes.
Bitcoin for corporations is taking over Paris, and the opening fireside chat was with Adam Back in Paris. So it's Paris Blockchain Week, but with a Bitcoin angle and a Bitcoin focus. And today we have the Bitcoin Investors Day, and we had panels and with you on digital capital markets and Bitcoin Treasury companies. And so what is happening is people realize that now we have the equivalent of strategy, but in Europe with the blockchain group adopting the exact same playbook to increase Bitcoin per share. And so they realize that, wow, now we have a leading Bitcoin treasury company in Europe. And so they come and reach out, and a lot of investors are interested in the strategy because they know Microstrategy, they know Metaplanet, and now they realize, okay, there is a local player that provided a 700% BTC yield with the last operation, and now it's time to become curious.
Yeah. When people approach you, is it mostly institutional investors, other investors? Are there any owners, executives from private companies that are looking to do the strategy, but probably not publicized in some cases because it's a private company? And are there also people approaching you that, you have the public companies, you have the private companies, you have the investors. Are there other public companies that you've had conversations with that are considering the strategy, or where are we in this kind of moment in time?
There are three types of investors or type of companies that come and see us. The first one is private companies that are not listed, but that have Bitcoin on the balance sheet or treasury and operations, and they wonder how they can allocate to Bitcoin treasury companies or how they can become a Bitcoin treasury company. Just before it was a Bitcoin miner, for example. Mm-hmm. And so the answer given by Yves Chefati, the president of Tobam and an investor in the blockchain group, is that the best way to get allocation or to implement precisely with the same returns the Bitcoin treasury company strategy is to actually own the Bitcoin treasury company stock, actually, or to participate in equity raises or convertible debt raises. So that's an interesting story to have. And then the second part is typical family offices, fund owners that have had an interest in digital assets 4 years ago, but that now are realizing that everything is about Bitcoin and everything is about Bitcoin yield. And so not Bitcoin yield in the sense of playing with the Bitcoin, but BTC yield in the sense of the KPI to increase Bitcoin per share. And they realize the value proposition of having the equivalent of levered Bitcoin without margin call. And that's a value proposition that people understand it's completely outperforming potentially any other strategy on the market. So there is massive interest. And tonight, for example, we have a dinner with 6 family offices, asset managers that are interested in coming in the Bitcoin treasury company strategy, at least the topic, and then we will see depending on the interest. And so that's interesting because this was not happening 1 or 2 years ago. People didn't even know about Bitcoin treasury companies. And that's massively due to the extreme success of strategy in the US and worldwide, and Metaplanet in Japan that has proven that you can do it at different scales, you can do it at different regions. There is a premium for Bitcoin in the market, there is a premium for Bitcoin treasury companies, and there is premium in the local markets. And lastly, there is a premium for early stage movers, because as you can see from when we launched the strategy on 5 November 2024, Bitcoin is up 30%, we are up 300%. And so that shows the massive demand and the coming in of institutions, because we have seen volumes that have 10x and it was due to retail, but also financial institutions. And yeah, we are now in the spot of international institutions as well. We have had Citadel take interest in the stock. They have tried to short us. They have reduced the position, and this has shown the interest of major financial institutions, and have led to meetings with systemic banks that are now reaching out to us to uh, tell us about the offering and what they have done with other Bitcoin Treasury companies. So that is extremely interesting. And the third category is actually a lot of companies that come to see us and propose us different type of services that they want to provide, like the stacking and so on. And I say no, because we don't want to play with the Bitcoin. We fully focus on Bitcoin per share increase over time. And the best allocation of our time is to raise as much capital as possible, to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible, and don't play with the Bitcoin.
Bitcoin custody is evolving, and OnRamp leads this change with multi-institution custody, eliminating single points of failure. Instead of one institution or complex private keys, OnRamp secures your Bitcoin in a segregated, cold storage, multi-sig vault backed by 3 independent, institutional-grade custodians. No single custodian can move funds by themselves, providing an unprecedented level of security that traditional custody solutions simply can't match. Protected by a $100 million Lloyd's of London insurance policy, all transactions are fully auditable on-chain, never rehypothecated, and executed only at your explicit direction. This means complete transparency and control over your assets at all times. Beyond custody, OnRamp delivers comprehensive Bitcoin financial services, including lending, trading, inheritance planning, IRAs, and more. OnRamp functions as your private banking partner, coordinating key holder activity, removing technical burdens, and providing a personalized, trust-minimized experience tailored to your specific wealth preservation goals. Whether you're new to Bitcoin or an experienced holder, OnRamp's approach helps secure generational wealth with unmatched security and peace of mind. Visit onrampbitcoin.com today to learn more, sign up, or book a free consultation with their team of Bitcoin custody experts. Are you looking for comprehensive analytics on corporate Bitcoin adoption? Strategy Tracker delivers real-time insights into how companies are executing their Bitcoin strategies completely free. Monitor NAV premiums, cost basis performance, and track how corporate Bitcoin treasuries perform against the market. Upgrade to premium for just $3.99 a month and unlock exclusive benefits like detailed market rankings, real-time trading volume analysis, and advanced performance metrics for corporations embracing Bitcoin. Apply code KOTZ at checkout for 100% off your first month of premium. Strategy Tracker is your essential tool for measuring the effectiveness of corporate Bitcoin strategies. Visit strategytracker.com and gain the analytical edge in understanding the Bitcoin Treasury phenomenon. What are the top 2 or 3 questions that you receive most often from investors or prospective investors about anything dealing with the Bitcoin strategy? I'm sure there's questions that you're just like, you dream about at night because they're the most commonly asked.
The main question is, why should I buy a Bitcoin Treasury company instead of Bitcoin directly? And Yves Shafati, the president of Tobam, published a scientific paper which shows that there are 3 factors to value a Bitcoin Treasury company that is mathematically proven. It's first, the BTC yield that we mentioned, the increase of Bitcoin per share. Second, the Bitcoin price appreciation. And third, the premium between the market cap and the net asset value of the Bitcoin. And so traditional investors, they first don't understand Bitcoin at the beginning, then they don't understand why there is a premium, and then they don't realize that there is an increase in Bitcoin per share. And so the first question is, why a Bitcoin Treasury company? Why there is a premium? And the answer to the premium is the investors are anticipating the capacity of the Bitcoin Treasury company to increase the Bitcoin per share. And the Bitcoin per share is just the capacity to increase faster the number of Bitcoin on the balance sheet than the number of shares. And so that's how we 13x the number of Bitcoin in the balance sheet with the last operation, from 40 to 620 Bitcoin. And we just 2x the number of fully diluted shares. And so that's how we were able to do the 709% BTC yield. And that's what people don't appreciate. And they don't understand that you can have an outperformance of Bitcoin with the stock price with, at the end, a premium that reached 1. Because you monetize the premium, you convert it into net asset value, and you increase the Bitcoin per share. And that's how Strategy has done 3,000%, while Bitcoin did 1,000% in 5 years. That's how Metaplanet did 2,800% last year. And that's how we did the 300% increase with Bitcoin doing 30%. And at the right now, we have a premium of about 2x if you take the fully diluted. But we did 300% performance. And so there is a distinction to be had between the premium and the BTC per share increase. And of course, the three factors contribute to each other, or they equilibrate each other, or they evolve. But the three should be taken into account to consider the potential of outperformance of a Bitcoin Treasury company versus Bitcoin.
How, as a Bitcoin Treasury company, how do you think about your acquisition of Bitcoin? Is it like a dollar cost average strategy where a dollar comes in and you say, okay, we're going to buy over the course of weeks or months, or at least several days? Or is it more of like money comes in and it goes and buys Bitcoin in a TWAP, VWAP sort of way where you're not, you're just a participant in the market. You're not necessarily moving the market. But yeah, how do you think about trying to maximize like buying at a lower price versus just dollar cost averaging, or just as cash comes in, we just buy the Bitcoin and move forward?
Well, obviously, when you are Strategy and you buy 2 billion worth of Bitcoin, there are some more complex strategies to acquire Bitcoin in a way that doesn't move the market and to maximize the price. But even doing this, I think, is still not timing the market. You are just adopting best practices to get the best price possible. On our side, our last Bitcoin raise was directly subscribed in Bitcoin. So we didn't even need to buy Bitcoin for the most part.
Okay.
And so that was not even a question. But for the first raises we did, we just smash bought Bitcoin because the amounts of the beginning were not that significant so that you would move the market. Okay. But of course, as the size grows, then you have to do it in an institutional way to make sure that you don't get a higher price, you don't move the price. But yeah, in any case, in both cases, we are not trying to time the market. And effectively, as we are doing different types of Bitcoin buys, we are doing a form of DCA as well. So it's a DCA in some way for Bitcoin Treasury companies, but at the same time, you are not trying to time the market. You just buy as soon as possible when you have the capital ready, because you never know when Bitcoin will just skyrocket, So you don't want that fiat exposure, and you want to allocate to Bitcoin as fast as possible.
Sure. Where can people find you and the blockchain group online?
Well, I'm on X and LinkedIn at Alexandre Laizet, and you can find the blockchain group as such in LinkedIn. And on X, it's called ALTBG, and it's the ticker of the company, actually. It's ALTBG. And that's how you can find us on Twitter, on X, and LinkedIn.
Okay. Alexander, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate
Thank you, Tim. Congrats for the podcast as well.
Thank you.
The Bitcoin for Corporations Conference is coming to Orlando May 6th and 7th. Receive 20% off admission by going to microstrategy.com, selecting Bitcoin for Corporations, and using discount code KOTZ at checkout, and I'll see you there. This episode is brought to you by Arch Lending, the premier provider of crypto-backed loans designed for both individual and institutional investors. At Arch, your digital assets work for you without selling them. Arch offers flexible loan options tailored to your needs. Backed by industry leaders like Morgan Creek Digital, Castle Island Ventures, and Galaxy Ventures, Arch Lending is setting a new standard in crypto-backed lending. Are you ready to unlock the potential of your crypto assets? Visit archlending.com to learn more and configure your loan today. Hey guys, today's episode is brought to you by Stampseed. If you're in cold storage, you know how important it is to protect your seed phrase. That's why I recommend you head over to stampseed.com and check it out for yourself. This seed phrase storage device is one solid piece of titanium. There are no loose pieces, and you can hammer your seed phrase in letter by letter. When you go to stampseed.com, use promo code TIM15 for a 15% discount across the website. That's TIM15.